I met a fellow one time who told me about these things. Well, I didn't actually meet him. He'd been dead about 100 years now, but I read his diary anyway. What he reckoned was that when he was working in the scrub country, he could track the Aboriginal movement because of the seeds out of these things. What they'd do is open them up, chew them up, get a bit of a taste of them, and then spit them out. And by all the spittings all around the place, you could see where the Aboriginals were moving. There's a fellow called Christy Palmerston. Not only can you eat the seeds though, you can get into the root system. And that's worthwhile because this is the ginger plant. And it's a great food additive and food flavouring. Yeah. Rocky ground. Ginger likes rocks. There it is. Whew. Take that old bit off. That's the ginger root itself. Tuck that away. That's what you're after. It's great for putting in your tucker. Flavours up your fish or whatever you got on. And it lasts for weeks, so you can carry it with you. Just exactly how Aboriginal people worked out what you could eat and what you couldn't is very, very difficult to judge. Maybe they used a method of trial and error over many, many years. One thing's for sure though, here in the scrub country, looks of a plant or food can be very deceptive. Now here's something you've got to look out for in the scrub country. This is the stinging tree. And of all the products you can find in the rainforest here, this one has got to be the worst. Because if you touch the leaves or the branches or the twigs, you get very, very severely stung. And that sting, it doesn't last just a day or an hour, it lasts for weeks and sometimes months. At this time of year, it got this fruit on it. It looks a little bit like mulberry or something like that. In fact, you can eat them, but I reckon that the trauma of trying to get at them and the chances of being stung are too much, so I leave them alone. If you look very closely at this leaf here, you can see all these fine hairs just sticking up. Those hairs are in fact hollow, and they've got a slight injection that they give you once they stick into you. Right, they're all over the surface there, both the top surface and underneath. I reckon it's too dangerous to play around with myself. As you travel north, it's not long before the rainforest begins to peter out, and then quite suddenly, right on the edge of the scrub country, you come across this amazing rock formation, a mysterious and sinister black mountain. Geologists reckon the mountain was created by volcanic activity, a great pile of black rock. It looks almost like an enormous slag heap. Aboriginal people have got a legend for it. They reckon that the Dreamtime spirits piled up these rocks, stacking them right up, one on top of the other, all in readiness for man's arrival. That's granite. Look at that. These are the Black Mountains just near Cooktown. And it's composed of all these ginormous big granite boulders, all sitting stacked one on top of the other. In fact, you've got to be careful when you're climbing up here, because it's got holes and caverns and caves all around the place, and you can fall down as easy as anything. There's some stories around that a few white fellas that came up here and tried to explore in here never came out again. Principally policemen and people running from the police. The problem is they crawl in underneath, get lost, can't see any daylight, and can't find their way out again. Aboriginals had similar sorts of stories. One goes that there's a whole tribe came through here at one time, crawled in here to hide, and only half them managed to find their way out. They also tell us that on a windy day, you can hear them calling out, trying to find their way out again. It'll take me 2 days to drive up north to a place called Iron Range. And up there, we've got the second major rainforest patch in North Queensland. To get there, I've got to cross this open savanna, this dry country. And most of Cape York area is made up of this sort of environment. It looks pretty harsh, and in fact, some of the early explorers perished in this country. This road didn't exist 20 years ago, and it's only in more recent times that the roads have begun to appear. There's talk that one day they'll put in a bitumen road, but I'm pretty happy the way things are now. This is Iron Range, and there's a pretty good reason for calling it that. They found minerals here. Those minerals didn't prove to be economical, and so far, no mining's gone on here. And it remains a very good natural rainforest. One of the first requirements in the scrub country is shelter. And if you get stuck out here without a tent, or as we call it in the army, a hoochie, you can knock one up out of the scrub itself. It's a technique that Aboriginal people perfected. This stuff here is that lawyer vine. And what they do with that is stick it in the ground like that, and then over this side here, make a whole bunch of rafters out of this stuff. Like this. These days, white people use the same lawyer vine for making the cane furniture. A few years ago, it was used in schools all over Australia for giving you a flogging. I remember it well. Yeah, they'd get the structure up like that. Then they'd perhaps weave a few things in and out of the frames. Put another one there just to make sure that it works. You can see it's got a whole igloo sort of effect to it. You know, weave round some rafters, that's pretty rough. Tie it in there a little bit. I'll just sit it there for the moment. And then they use the banana leaves to put the covering over the whole thing. And for a one-night stand, it was pretty good. Did the job. You'd be flat out finding an unattractive rainforest stream. Even